All right, so picture this. You're somebody who's selling their home or who's thinking of selling their home, and you're kind of nervous about an inspection, either because you know there's some things that's not all the way right within your home, or you just don't really understand what inspectors look for, what it is, why they do it. You know nothing about it. Well, luckily for you, you clicked on a Vic Realtor video, and today I'm gonna cover every single thing that has to do with that. Let's go. Hey, what is up, guys? It is Victor Agbo, aka Vic Realtor, aka Vic's Chicken, aka your Columbus Realtor. And today we are back with another video, and we're talking on all things inspections, what they are, who does them, why they do them, what can they lead to, all that stuff. So without further ado, no. Remember, if you guys are interested in any buying, selling, investing, relocating, anything real estate in Columbus or surrounding cities, guys, my contact info is in the description down below. And let's not waste no more time and let's get right into it. So starting off, what is a home inspection? Now, a home inspection is an inspection, just kidding. A home inspection is a thorough walkthrough of a home where an inspector will go and look through specific features throughout the home and judge them based on their quality, their performance, and their overall, condition. From there, usually they'll go and they'll take anywhere from maybe 30 minutes to 2 hours, and they'll create a report. And that report is what us agents use and our clients use to judge the, quality and or full condition of a home. Now, when is the home inspection used? Some people actually inspect their homes before they even list it on the market, which is quite rare these days. But usually what I see is that they're inspected as soon as they go into contract. And that period, that inspection period, it's a specified amount of time that you have to actually do your inspections, is anywhere from like a couple days to maybe a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks at max. If it's a commercial property, I know that can take up to months though. And like I said, this is done to judge the condition of the home, the overall condition of the home, and all the features and things inside of it. So that somebody who would want to use that property completely understands what it would take to get that property up and running. Now, after the inspection, I know some of you guys are wondering because you might be nervous about your home's condition or your property's condition. What are they actually used for? Now, after the inspection period, there's something that in Columbus, Ohio we have, and I'm sure other areas as well, called the remedy period. Now, that agreement to remedy period is a specified amount of time. It could be anywhere from a day, 2 days, 3 days, etc., to where your client can actually ask the seller for any things they want fixed that came from the inspection. Now, in some markets, sellers are going to be fixing, there'll be huge lists of remedy requests, and sellers will go through all that and fix it for you. But in today's market, which is a little bit more seller-based just because of our lack of inventory, that's not something we see too often, where sellers are going through and fixing everything on the remedy. But typically they'll fix items here and there. But I mean, you never know. Every deal is different. The inspection report can also be used for termination. In a lot of cases, if your client is not in good faith with that inspection, then it's actually a valid reason from a law perspective and from the client and other realtors perspective to back out of that deal because of the potential money that would have to come in order to get that, certain thing fixed on that property. Now that we understand what inspections are and what they're used for and what we're doing with them, let's kind of go into detail about what these inspectors are actually looking at. Now, I've made other videos on similar topics. I'll actually link it to this. It's my top things to do to get the most value out of your home. I think that's what I call it. And I go through and I give, certain fixes that I would recommend. It's a very general list, but fixes that I would recommend to get the most value out of your home. And those are the same kind of things they're looking at. Most people, when they move into their home, they want it to be move-in ready. Essential things like, I'm not gonna say it because I'm about to say it in this list, but let's dive straight into that list that I'm talking about. So firstly, we have the roof. Now, the roof, you really want to have an understanding for how old your roof is and when you had it last done, because that's a very expensive repair for somebody who was potentially to move into your home, right? And you don't want them to have to go through that or back out of the deal because they didn't want to deal with it in the first place. So understand the age of your roof. They'll be looking at things like the shingles on top, the tiles. They'll figure out the age as well, the condition. Is it collapsing? Is it sturdy? All those things. So have a contractor look at your roof, or just understand when your roof was done, and from there you can kind of judge the condition on if that's something you need to be concerned about or not. Also, before I go any further, remember, this is just general advice. If you want specific opinions on your property, reach out to me or other real estate or contracting professionals who can actually tell you what's going on. Let's get back to it. Next, we have the chimney. Is the exhaust actually exhausting correctly, right? Is the chimney actually doing its job, or is smoke actually getting caught up from the fireplace and actually going back down into your house? So you need to make sure that it's exhausting correctly. Look on the exterior and look on the interior, and just see how it looks. Next up, we have the attic. Is the attic insulated correctly? Is the attic structurally okay? Because that can lead to things, especially if your roof is bad, to things like leaking, right? Where it'll leak through the roof and actually come in through the attic and into your home, and that can cause a whole plethora of problems. So making sure your attic is structurally okay, making sure it's insulated, so that there's also no like rodents or creatures, because animals will live in there if they have the chance as well. Next up, we have the exterior of the home. We're gonna be looking at things like windows, looking at things like your siding. Is there any brickwork done, any mortar? The outside, is there any moss, any discoloration? They'll be looking at all those things. A good power wash before listing your home also helps a lot. It keeps it very clean, helps it look good, and also, takes care of those potential problems that inspectors would list in that inspection report. And next up is the garage. Pretty self-explanatory. Does the door work properly? Can a car fit in there? I don't know. But yeah, that's garage. Next up, we have the kitchen and bathroom. They'll be looking at things like venting above the range. Are the tiles on the kitchen floor done correctly? Are they cracked? How are your fixtures in the kitchen? Does the sink faucet work right? Does the water get hot? Does the water get cold? Little things like that. They'll also be looking at the plumbing throughout the kitchen and throughout the entire home. Do the sinks drain water correctly? Is there any leaks? Little things that inspectors will look for. You'd be surprised, inspectors catch a lot of things. They're very detailed. So having a thorough look at your home before even getting an inspector in there would really help. Or of course, getting a realtor to help you out. Also with the bathroom, how's the toilet? Does the toilet flush correctly? Does the water in the sink get hot, get cold? Is there any leaking around the ceiling of the toilet? Little things like that they'll be looking at. Next up, we have the home's structural components. This is a huge one. And the biggest one being the foundation. Like I said, I made a short on this. There's a lot of people having foundation problems because their basements are not sealed properly and protected properly against leaking and water. Of course, go watch that short if you do want to know a couple tips that I gave to mitigate that. But let me quickly list the things that I had. Firstly, you want to make sure your gradient away from the home, the dirt slopes away from the home, so that water, when it falls, is not actually going towards your foundation, but instead away from the home and into the storm drains that run to the street. Next up is your gutters okay. You want to make sure your gutters are good so that the water that's coming off the roof is not actually just falling next to your house and into the foundation. And lastly, a sump pump. A sump pump always collects the excess water in the basement that results from any drains or storms or anything like that, and it pumps it out. So if you don't have a sump pump and it's running a lot, especially near your foundation, you might want to get one. And for structural, they'll also be looking at things like the walls. They'll be looking at any cracks in the floors, in the foundation floors. They'll be looking at any beams in the house or any places they think should be beams. Any leaning, because some houses are leaning. Like, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen in real estate. There are some houses that are leaning. Everything with the house's structure and actually keeping the house up and steady, they'll be looking at everything concerning that. Next up is plumbing systems. They'll be checking your water heater and making sure that it's running correctly. And they'll be checking every single sink in the house, turning the water hot, turning the water cold. Does it work on both sides? What's the temperatures? Does it drain properly? Is there any leakage in your, do they see any discoloration? Do they see any leakage? Do they smell any potential mold resulting from water from that leakage? Are your gutters good? Are your storm drains good? Everything concerning water and plumbing, they'll be looking at that as well. Next up, we have electrical systems. These inspectors will be checking every single outlet in your home and making sure it works properly. Not even that, they'll be checking your electrical box, making sure that it's not completely out of date and it's usable and complies with your city's codes so that it's not actually a fire hazard. Next up, we have heating. They'll be checking your furnace, of course. Does the home heat properly? Does the temperature change when they change the temperature on the thermometer? Or does it not? Is it functional? Pretty self-explanatory. And they'll also be looking at little things like, are there plastic bits or wood bits on it that shouldn't be there, that are potential fire hazards as well. Next up, we have the central air conditioning. Same thing with the heater. They'll be turning it on and see, does the temperature actually change? They'll also be checking the internal air of the AC as well to make sure that it's regulated properly. But yeah, that's about it. There are some more little things that might be specific to your home, but for a general list, that's typically what they're looking for. One thing you'll notice throughout this list I've been giving is that they're very specific and they look at very small things. Now, I wouldn't be too worried about the small things, but as for your major things like your structure, your heating, your plumbing, your electrical, your roof, those are really your core things that you want to make sure are straight in your home, because some buyers, really do get scared from big problems, and especially with buyer's remorse. If you don't know what that is that some people, when they go into contract, they get kind of, what's the word? They get very anxious, right? Because they are in contract on a couple $100,000 home and they want to make sure it's the right one. So issues like that can be the thing that makes them actually back out of the deal. So having those taken care of beforehand can really help you a lot when it comes to selling your home. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Remember guys, if you are interested in any buying, selling, investing, relocating, anything real estate in Columbus or surrounding cities, my contact info is in the description down below. And also, if you like this video and it helped you out, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.